Welcome back to my channel for a travel tip video. If you've been watching my vlogs, you know I'm a little bit in my travel girl era. I've been traveling a lot, and just trial and error, I've picked up some things that have been really helpful for me to keep in mind when on plane, train, and automobile. And so I wrote them all down, I've categorized them, and I'm just gonna be telling you, like, you're my best friend, the things that really actually make life a lot easier. Some of them may be revolutionary, and some of them may be common sense, but hopefully there's value in it for you. So this video is divided by first, packing, second, what to do at the airport, third, what to do on your flight, and then fourth, if you are getting a rental car. So without further ado, these are my tips of what makes traveling so much easier. Step one, packing. Let's get into it. I'm sure you've seen packing cubes and little reusable little squeezy bottles for products and all that sorts of stuff. But besides that, here are some other things that are really helpful to me. First, I travel with a laundry bag. So I pack a laundry bag in my suitcase. Mine's literally actually just a free bag that my backpack came in. That way, whenever I get to my hotel or wherever I'm going, I hang that bag in the bathroom. When I undress, I throw my dirty clothes in there, so A, my hotel room stays really clean, and B, it's separate from my clean clothes, so my clean clothes don't start to smell like sweat and grime. Third, when I come back home, it's so much quicker to unpack because I have my dirty clothes bag, throw it in the wash, and everything else I know I haven't worn so I can hang it back up in my closet. Next, this might be obvious, if you have a scale at your home, weigh it before you go. Whatever airline you're on, see what the heavy bag weight is. I always fly Southwest. I think it's 50 pounds. So I just weigh my bag and make sure it's under 50 pounds because I don't want to pay that fee. And I don't want to be that person at the airport either that is like, has all their suitcases open and are trying to shove heavy things into their backpack to like rearrange everything. Being that person is a very humbling experience. You don't want to be that person. Weigh your bag before you go. Hotels often have scales too for the way back home. Another tip that I've learned, if you want to do a little bit of shopping wherever you're going, you know how most suitcases have the extra zipper to expand the suitcase another couple inches? I always make sure when I'm traveling to my destination that my suitcase is not expanded, that it's like the more condensed version, because then I know on the way home, if I find something, if I find a piece of clothes, or a lot of times I'll buy a piece of art, I'm gonna have enough room to expand my suitcase a little bit and bring it home without having to worry about like buying another bag or something of the sort. So less is more. When you're going to your destination, if you can, make sure your bag is collapsed so that you always know I have at least an extra inch of space to bring something on the way back home. Speaking of the weight of bags, this one's just kind of common sense, but wear your heaviest shoes and your heaviest coat on the plane. That can save pounds in your suitcase. Sometimes I like bring these really thick, heavy combat boots, and I'll wear those in the airport. They're also really easy to slip on and off if you have to at security, but I'll wear my heavy, heavy boots throughout the airport so that they're not taking up space and weight in my suitcase. And then also I'll always bring a jacket on my body instead of shoving it in my suitcase because jackets take up so much space, and also they can be used as a blanket or a pillow on the airplane, and that's just like another perk. Sometimes I'll even put my jacket over the table if I want to lay down forward because I do not trust the cleanliness of the little tray tables in airplanes, okay? The next thing that has been so handy is investing in a really big, really good backpack that has the strap that can go over your suitcase arm. That has been huge for me. I researched and researched and researched. I bought one that was pretty pricey. My only regret is I wish I got a darker color. I wish I got a black because my lighter color backpack is showing stains. I've even thrown it in the wash, but the backpack itself that I bought is so great. There's a million zillion little pockets inside of it, so it's really easy to, while I'm sitting in the airplane and I'm trying to do the little dance where you reach under the seat without like bumping in the person next to you, I know exactly where I'm going because everything has its own zipper pocket. I don't have to like fumble and rummage around. And then when I get to my destination, I don't have to have it on my shoulders, killing my back. I just slide it over the top of my suitcase and roll it around, and it is so freeing and nice. Next, speaking of packing a backpack, in case your backpack doesn't have a zillion little zippers, I think it's so handy to divide things into pouches. For example, I have like a tech pouch inside of my backpack. I have a snack pouch inside of my backpack. I have like a beauty one. So if it's too big for my little zipper pockets, say I need a charger, I know which pouch I'm grabbing for so I don't have to be rummaging through my backpack, which is really nice. This is a tip I got from someone else that I just bought and I'm ready to set up soon, but is putting Apple AirTags in your luggage, especially if you have connecting flights. It is so easy for a bag not to make the connection or just to get mixed up and lost and sent to a random airport, and to be able to locate it will help you tremendously. So throwing an Apple AirTag in your hard shell suitcase, especially if you're checking it. Also, even just throwing an AirTag into your purse or your personal backpack, just in case, worst case scenario, it's stolen or you leave it somewhere, it's just good peace of mind to be able to track it down later. So I just bought those for myself. That was someone else's tip, but I do think it's a very smart thing to do. And lastly, this is something I need to be better about, but it's keeping your prescription medication in your carry-on, in your backpack, your purse, whatever it is, instead of in your checked luggage for a couple reasons. First, if your checked luggage doesn't make it to your destination, bet you're gonna want your meds, especially if you have more serious conditions like me and you're pretty dependent on your medication. Second, I learned this the hard way from my boyfriend. He lost his wallet on a trip, so he did not have his ID, and they just needed a couple forms of identification and his prescription medication counted. So he had his prescriptions and they said, that's your name, that's a prescription. So that's just helpful to have in case, worst case scenario, you lose your wallet, it gets stolen, whatever that might be. Those are my packing tips. Now let's talk about when you arrive to the airport. Are you ready for this hack? This one is good. Maybe you've heard of it. But if you are being dropped off at the airport, especially during a busy time, being dropped off in the departures, the line could take forever. It could be 30 minutes of traffic before the car is close enough to drop you off. What you can do at most airports is be dropped off at arrivals. Normally it's on a different level. So normally people are just quickly picking up people arriving from flights, and you can get dropped off on that level and just take an elevator or an escalator to the other level to get to the check-in gates. An Uber driver did this for me once and it saved me literally 30 minutes because traffic was so bad, and it was just immediate. So good. I am a big fan of self-tagging my bags at the kiosk. Pretty much every airline has this nowadays. You just have to have your confirmation number ready to go. So when I'm in the car on the way to the airport, I pull up my confirmation number, so I walk straight to the kiosk and I self-tag my bags. I like to do this for a few reasons. First off, there's normally not a line and you just drop it right off. Just best to DIY it in my opinion. Second, I like to have the option to print out my boarding pass and have my boarding pass on my Apple Wallet on my phone. I love to know I have two options in case anything goes wrong. This did happen to me once before. My phone froze in the airport, literally would not even turn off. And so I had to use my physical boarding pass. And I think a lot of people just depend on their virtual one on their phone. And personally, it has saved my butt once to go to the kiosk, print out my own, and have both options, which you could do in the full service line too if you want. My next tip is when you tag your bag, you're gonna peel off this little like scrap of paper to make the sticker stick. Keep the end of that. That is called your bag tag. It has information on it should your bag get lost. That's how they identify it and find it. I am so glad once my bag got lost, and I didn't really know that that was very important. I like shoved it into a pocket without thinking about it along with trash. And when my bag got lost, they said, do you have your bag tag? And I was like, shoot, I don't think I do, and was rummaging through and finally found it. Thank goodness. So now I keep that very safe until I'm at my destination. Okay, this is not really a tip, everybody knows this, but getting TSA pre-check is such a game changer. I think it's valid for 5 years when you get it, and you basically have a much shorter security line, and you don't have to take off your shoes or your jacket. You don't have to take all your electronics out of your bag. It's just so quick. You don't have to stand in the little scanner where you look like a mannequin. You just walk through a regular metal detector. I have been in airports where the wait for the regular security line is 45 minutes, and I have been in and out of security through TSA pre-check in 2 minutes. It is just so nice to have. So if you have the extra $75, $80, however much it is, it lasts 5 years. Do it. Something that I do when I get to the airport is immediately I go to the little shop and I buy water. As you know, you can't bring liquids through My boyfriend travels a lot and he brings his own water bottle. He fills it up. That's like the more budget-friendly way to do it. I just like to like buy really nice water that I know is like not contaminated and clean. I don't always trust water fountains. And also with like a really good screw cap, because sometimes when I bring my own water bottle, it leaks. And that's just the first thing I do. I have a little routine. I get into the airport, I go buy a water, gum if I need it, I go to the bathroom, I find a seat with a charger, I charge my devices, and then 10 minutes before boarding, I go to the bathroom one more time to try to avoid needing to use the bathroom on the plane. That's my personal little schedule. Another good thing to do at the airport before you get there, if you can, is just take a picture of your ID, just in case. Have it on your phone. You never know what might happen. You never know if that might come in handy. And for me, that's just another level of peace. Okay, let's talk about being on the plane. Things to do. Like I said, I fly Southwest. And the way Southwest works is you pick your own seat. You check in 24 hours in advance. You get a boarding position in order of how quickly you checked in, basically, and then you pick your seat. Depending on my travel day, we'll decide what seat I choose. Let me explain. This is really only helpful if you're a Southwest flyer, but if I have just like one flight, I'll go to the back of the plane to make sure that I can get like an aisle or a window seat or whatever and have a very comfortable flight. But if I have a quick layover, which I've had quite a few of these lately, where like I land and I'm boarding in 5 minutes, I will sit at the front of the plane in a middle seat because you don't realize how long it takes to deplane a plane. The further you are back, the longer it's going to take you to get off of that plane. I was in the back once with a really quick layover, and so I was really watching the clock, and it took 20 plus minutes to get off of that plane from the time that the gates open, the door open, to when I got off. So now I will sacrifice the comfort of my seat. I will sit in a middle seat as close to the front as I can get if I have a quick layover, because I know it will literally save me like 20 minutes. So a lot of domestic flights still don't have outlets, which I mean, it's 2023. Apparently Southwest is planning on putting those in planes moving forward, which is great, but right now they don't have that. And if your phone dies, you're kind of out of luck. So what I like to do is I bring a battery bank if I can have it. I also charge my phone in the airport before I get on the plane, and then I bring a cable that can be plugged into my computer, because a computer is essentially a huge battery bank. So if I don't have my battery bank or if it dies, I can also plug my phone into my computer, and I find that charges it very fast, surprisingly, and hardly affects my computer's battery at all. Okay, this is a very bougie tip, so disregard if you're not as particularly sensitive as me. I am just so sensitive to like touch and my surroundings. I might be one of those like highly sensitive people, I don't know, but I bring 2 types of earbuds. I have one that just has a really long battery life. It's called Raycon. I really like them. And then I have my AirPods as well. I find that those are better for phone calls and things of the such, but I like to bring both with me. First off, because if one does die, a flight without earbuds is just awful. Second, this is the thing that is just embarrassing to admit. My ears, if there's one shape of earbud in them for more than a couple hours, the pain is unbearable for me. So I have to switch between earbud shapes if I have them in my ears for a long time. So I'll go back and forth between a couple different types just to switch it up to like give my ears a break from the shape of bud that's in them. Is that ridiculous? It probably is, but that's just the truth. That's something that has really, really helped my travel experience. And also I got the Raycon ones after my AirPods died like way quicker than I expected them to on a flight, and it's just nice to have one with a really long battery life for travel days. Okay, something that I learned the hard way is planes just get so cold sometimes. They get absolutely frigid. You could turn off your air vent and you're still freezing. So like I said, I carry on my jacket with me, but I also just make sure to wear like layers, long sleeves when I'm on a plane. In case you get a hot plane, you could take it off and have, you know, a tank or whatever underneath, but I'm usually always thankful having more layers because I just get really cold. Next, I always bring hand sanitizer. I feel like if you use the bathroom plane, it's just gross. It's just dirty. Even if you wash your hands in there, I don't feel like I'm clean when I leave it. So I like to do another little spritz of sanitizer. Also, if I eat anything, I like to sanitize my hands because I've touched the buckle and the tray table and all sorts of things. And there's just, people don't reschedule flights if they're sick, unfortunately. So there's just, I feel like a lot of germs on planes.
Well, guys, bad news. I lost the rest of the footage to this video. Some sort of technical difficulty. I filmed it weeks and weeks in advance because I am currently recovering from surgery. So I'm just going to kind of summarize the last few points like this. I was saying, I highly recommend wearing shoes with socks just in case you want to slip off your shoes mid-flight. I feel like there's this unspoken rule that you cannot take off your shoes if you have bare feet. It's kind of disgusting. But if you're wearing socks, especially like socks and slides, totally fine. And that way I feel like you can get a little more comfortable, maybe cross one leg under you or something of the sorts. Next, long travel days, I highly recommend bringing body wipes. Any sort of like showerless body wipes. A ton of brands make them nowadays, but it's so nice to get off at your final destination and quickly just wipe down in the bathroom and feel fresh again, especially if you are landing earlier in the day and going off to do something and don't have time to go shower between flight and activity. Maybe it's just me, but I feel so gross after an airplane, so doing this makes me feel so much cleaner. And lastly, for being on a plane, something I learned the hard way recently is I will now always have Dramamine in my backpack, not for me, but for the people around me. I had a bad experience on a flight recently where the lady next to me said she gets super motion sick, and so they brought her over like bags and the whole thing, and that is a big fear of mine. And she ended up finding Dramamine and being okay, but I now will forever have non-drowsy Dramamine in my backpack to give to anyone around me who might need it so that I also don't have to be worried about them getting sick. And the last category is about rental cars. I will say, my boyfriend, he travels a lot. He loves Turo. I think Turo's great, but I really love Hertz for a few reasons. I am a gold member, which is just free, and it has a ton of perks. You get to check in on your app. So you like scan your license, you take a picture of your face, and then you don't have to wait at any counter. You get to check in on the app, and then you get to go pick your car. And I love this. A, obviously you're skipping the lines, but B, I'm picky about the type of car that I want. So I pick a car that's about the same size as my car so that I feel comfortable driving it and parking it. And then I also like to look in the car I'm choosing to make sure that it has Apple CarPlay. So that way I have easy navigation, phone call, all that sort of thing. So I've loved doing this. It's quicker, it's safer in my opinion, and it doesn't cost any more money. So I don't know why they offer it. I'm not complaining. That's it. That's what you missed. I'm sure I said it better the first time when I wasn't on pain medication. Sorry for having to end out the video this way, but hopefully we salvaged it for you, and hopefully there was still some good tips. Thanks for being along for the ride, no matter what technology and life throws at us. I'm thankful to have you here. I hope you have the best rest of your day, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Bye.